Hi, everybody, and welcome into my channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. Welcome if you're new to my channel. Hello, and for all the returning subscribers, welcome back. You guys already know I really appreciate you guys' support and all the push that you give me to keep going. So yeah, today's video is going to be about delayed gratification versus instant gratification, okay? Gratification being pleasure, pleasure gained from your desires, pleasure gained from some type of satisfaction, okay? What and all the push are that you give me to keep going? What's better? Delayed gratification, where you put in effort and you think long term, or instant gratification? And more specifically, how is that going to affect you on your spiritual journey, okay? Running around and trying to gain pleasure, instant pleasure here and there and there and there and there. Does that humble you? Does that create some sort of addictive behavior? Is it detrimental, or is it hindering your spiritual process, your ability to meditate, your ability to go inward, and your ability to actually go ahead and stay in alignment with that frequency of your spiritual self, okay? So I do have some guests here. I'm gonna welcome in a few guests. We have Global Green Book here. Okay, so let me go ahead and send the link out. Let's see what we got here. All right, so yes. Okay, so we have Global Green Book and we have Elsie coming in. So as soon as you guys see that link that's inside of the StreamYard, all you have to do is click on it and we'll go ahead and add you in. Hey everybody, once again, hello. Flying Gorilla, how are you? Hello. All right. And Sacred Ascension, hi, how are you? Hey sister, very important conversation. Yes, very important, okay. Let's go ahead and get Empress in here. Hi.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. How are you, beautiful?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm well. I think I need to get a pillow to prop myself up. I'll be right back. Hold on one second. I'm sorry.
No worries.
All right.
Yes, so we'll go ahead and wait for Elsie to get back as well. As soon as she clicks on the link, then she'll be guided towards this video. So yes, we're going to be talking about delayed gratification and instant gratification. These are some things that are really important when it comes to your spiritual journey, when it comes to you even succeeding in life. You need to know what works better. Chasing around pleasure, instant pleasure, instant pleasure, or going ahead and waiting for the long term and doing the hard work first, doing what might hurt now but feel better later. Or do you want to feel better now and then hurt later? You know, this is a trap that most of us get into, okay? So hi, thank you for coming into this live. So let's go ahead and get started here.
Yeah, this is a good topic. It's a good topic because gratification can mean so many different things. You know, I like the thought process of delay versus instant, because with repatriation on my mind personally, I have to focus on delay gratification. So because you know I see there's pros and cons to both, and it all depends on what you're dealing with at that time. You know, a lot of people look at instant gratification as a negative thing, but it's actually, I like to think of it as a glass half full and focus on the positive sides of it. Like when you have a small child and they do something well, You know, you don't want to delay those kudos to them. So, you know, they need that instant gratification to propel them to do more versus, you know, so, you know, when you think of it in those terms, you can find the good out of it. So you can kind of create a balance when it's necessary to have instant gratifications versus delayed.
Yes, I see what you're saying. It's case by case, basically. It depends on what it is you're going through. It depends on what it is the experience is and what works better for it.
Exactly.
Now, we didn't get a chance to introduce you. Do you want to introduce yourself really quick?
I'm sorry. I just started talking because that topic has had me like, yeah, I love this. Greetings, family. Greetings, family in the chat. First, thank you for having me on your channel, Blooming Woman. You're a beautiful sister, and I appreciate love it. My name is Kiddis, and I go by Empress Kiddis. My channel is The Global Green Book. I am also a YouTuber. I'm also focusing on my repatriation journey as well as being a resource for our community once I get over to the continent, where we can start bridging that gap, that division between the diasporans and the continental African, and then as well as us keeping that flow of education and keeping us updated in regards to what's going on. So it's like anytime I learn any information that I feel is going to be pertinent and positive, because I only can focus on the positive right now because we've had enough negative. I try to focus on the positive on anything. So I try to look at it as I want to be a solution finder. I want to have the answer. You know, instead of like questioning, let's find the answers and the solutions. So that's my goal, and you know, and just to be a small part of the cog that does something positive for our community.
Absolutely. Those are great, beautiful things, and it sounds like it's positive things for repatriation, for us as a community, for Africa. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem. Thank you for letting me share it. I appreciate love it.
Absolutely. So let's get back into the instant gratification and the delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Now, if you had to pick one, on which one is better,
well,
what would you do?
I probably would pick delayed, only because that's something that's a struggle for most of us, is delayed gratification, and the rewards are so great with delayed gratification. And I know one of the things, like with I'm Muslim, so one of the things in Islam, we're always being tested, you know, in delayed gratification and trying to exercise that muscle, because that's not something in the diaspora that you know you get accustomed to. Actually, you get angry sometimes when you have to deal with delayed gratification, like, because we all want things now. So I think, you know, in the past when we had to exercise that muscle more, we did a lot of great things, you know. So I think sometimes this instant gratification has hindered our creativity, you know, especially over here in the West. It's hindered our creativity, our thought process, our patience for each other, you know. It gets in the way of us giving grace to others. So I think I would pick delayed gratification, you know, and it's a struggle for me to say that, because I do like stuff like now, but
Right. Right. You know, it's funny because I would say the same thing. I do feel like, you know, delayed gratification is very important, and I see how it plays out inside of our society as Black people.
Right.
You know, when it comes to wanting it now and not really wanting to wait. And you know, I really do not like, I dislike to generalize Black people and say, oh, all Black people do this, or we just struggle too much, or we just do this too much, or we just suffering, we're all suffering. I hate to generalize it, but when it comes to, in terms of, you know, being patient and waiting. I feel like there's a good way to teach that to our community. Even though it's going to be harder to wait, the reward is going to be more. The reward, it's going to feel better. You know what I'm saying? How does it feel like if you had the convenience to run to the grocery store and get a piece of your favorite dessert and eat it right when you said it? Or if you had to solve some sort of puzzle, or you had to do some type of extra effort, and you were hoping, I really hope I get that dessert. And because of your efforts, you were rewarded from the universe for your efforts. The gratification, the pleasure that you feel is going to be a lot better. You know?
I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree. You know, it's just like when I was a youth with my mother, we used to put puzzles together, and it would take so long. And when we were doing it, I was like, why is she making me do this? But then I would get into it, and then as the puzzle pieces started coming together, it might take us like a week to do a puzzle. My mom used to like those 5,000, 10,000 pieces.
Wow.
And the larger they were, the longer it would take us to do it. But by the time we would get to like the last pieces, especially don't let a piece be missing, then I would be so upset. We would tear the house up looking for it. But once we put the puzzle together and I seen what I was putting together, it just made me, it was like so much joy of something simple of just completion. But that taught me a skill that has helped me in my older years, because I see a lot of young ones are distracted and they can't focus, and because they're trying to rush to something. So when just the satisfaction, even I didn't care if it was, it took us 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the satisfaction of seeing the completed work was like the best thing. You would have thought my mom gave me like a thing of candy. We would be so excited about it.
Right. Sorry, I have to send the link to
I do the same thing
to Elsie so she can get in here. She asking me for the link and stuff. But
I do the same thing. It's like these lives, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to do this. I got to do this next.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how I can send that to her right now.
Oh, I see the chat families in here. Okay, I've always been on the other side. Hi, family. I see Donnie Goes in. Hi, Gayle. Oh, wow. Sacred Accession. Okay.
All right. Back on track now.
I'm like all in the comments like, oh, hey, I know them.
Right. Yes. The support is really
yes.
It's outstanding.
And I'm so glad they're supporting your page.
Yes, it's outstanding. I couldn't be more.
I love your page.
Thank you so much.
I really love your page. You're one of the few people I subscribe to. I have to keep my my views very positive. So yeah.
Exactly.
So I was happy when you reached out to me. Yeah.
Absolutely, because who would I do it with other than you? You know, I have to find someone who's in that similar energy
and energy. Yes.
Mindset. So yes, I do feel like when it comes to, like you said, the youth and things of that nature, actually going in and getting distracted, it is a distraction. That's the thing about instant gratification. Is it feels good right away, but it's a distraction, because what instant gratification does is it allows room for an addictive behavior. Because if you know you can get something fast, you're going to keep going for that thing really fast. And in return, if you get lost, you can actually continuously going for that thing fast. I mean, that's kind of how it works with addiction, with drugs, because all you have to do is drink 6 shots within the time frame of 30 minutes and you'll feel,
elated, you're
Exactly.
just, you're, and that is one of the issues of living here in the West is the instant gratification and people getting more, and then they can take it to the next level and they get more, and then it's more, and then the next thing you know, you see a lot of unfortunate things when it comes to addiction here, and it doesn't discriminate. I see people from every part of the world suffering from those type of instant gratifications here in the West, and that's it's just that's when you kind of like there's other ways, there's other ways to have that euphoric uh, uh, feeling to come into play other than that. But here in the West, because we're just so like everything is so fast, 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 fast. You have to get your gratification kind of fast, and you're like I gotta get the fun. Duh. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like even for me, like sometimes I have to really you know
Slow down. Yeah.
and breathe. We don't breathe here. We don't take the time out and slow down, and I don't blame anyone. It's just sometimes that's just the beast here, and we have to make a cognitive effort to slow it down so that we don't get caught in that whirlwind, because it's really a whirlwind. Once you get caught up in it, it's almost kind of like like, because
Yeah.
that's how I kind of feel sometimes, it's like, okay, you have to slow down, sis, because then that's how the food addiction happens, because you need something instant, that those endorphins, you need those endorphins to kick in. So,
Right.
that's when you know, some people don't think about exercise as another way of doing that, but because that's a delay. That's on the delay side, because you can
Mhm.
still have those same euphoric feelings, but it just takes a little bit longer, and it takes time, and then it takes getting accustomed to and creating a rhythm. But towards the end, it's worth it. You know, it's healthier for us. It's
Yeah.
um, you know in our stress, um, in our physical, in our emotional, in our spiritual, even prayers. I see people, who are into praying, because not everyone's into it, but those who are, sometimes I see how they rush to prayer so they can get back on the road to work, or, get to what they have to do, and then they miss the rhythm, the flow of just kind of getting in tune with your own breath, and speaking to, a higher creator. So, it's a real balance that is needed, but it takes practice, and it takes exercise to do that delay gratification. You know,
Right.
but we definitely need instant gratification at times, but it got to be a balance.
Absolutely. It's the environment that we live inside of in America. It just, when you live in a fast paced environment, it makes things that much harder to slow down. So that's
Yeah,
why it's good to practice the delayed gratification.
yeah.
Let's go ahead and add Elsie. She's in here.
Oh,
I'm gonna just mute you. Hi, Elsie. How's it going?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm
greetings.
good. I just can't see anything that you guys are doing right now. I'm gonna just use my other phone.
Oh, you can't see us?
Huh?
You can't see us?
No, I can't see anything. It just says live, but it's just dark in my background. I don't see anything. It just say you backstage, but I don't see anything that's going on.
Oh, okay. I think you should be able to see it, maybe because it's not on a laptop, but that's fine. Anyhow, do you want to invite yourself? Thank you so much for coming on to this live stream.
I'm just gonna like use this phone and see if it's different.
What'd you say?
Cause I could barely hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
So I'm just gonna switch to my iPhone it's on now, so I was letting it charge. I'm using a different phone, so I'm gonna just see if it's different if I connect with this phone.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll just continue. Let us know when you're ready to hop in. Yeah. So it does create for.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, so I'm not even.
That's fine. We'll
hear
just.
anything
You
you
can
say.
just pop in when you feel like its connection is better. I'll keep you on here. So that's the thing, is at the end of the day, it's a very addictive type of thing. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, when you're chasing something to feel good now, it is a really, 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 it can be very dangerous if you're, like you said, balanced. If you're diving way too much into instant gratification, that's going to actually hinder you on your spiritual path. Because when you think about spirituality, you think about something that is giving you the moment and the time to actually go ahead and sit back, have stillness, have quietness, and to not go ahead and speed up and be fast paced.
Right.
The thing about instant gratification is instant gratification actually feeds your ego. After a while, if you continuously seeking pleasure that fast, then you're feeding your ego that much faster versus delayed gratification where there's purpose behind it. There's some type of purpose behind it. So it's not really feeding your ego to that extent because it has purpose behind it. I did see a comment that I wanted to welcome in everybody. I did see a comment that I wanted to touch up on. And I think it's really important too, is going to be this one. Let me see. Let's get her back in here too. Can you see us? Can you hear us?
Okay, so it's better to connect with this phone than that.
Okay, good.
Okay, because I can still hear you on both phones. Okay.
Awesome. Do you want to introduce yourself? Thank you for coming into the channel.
Hi, you guys. I'm sorry. I was having a bit of a difficulty to join you guys in a moment. But my name is Elsie, and I'm new to my spiritual journey. But I've been on it. I call myself new because I know people have been on the spiritual journey for years. So I don't think I'm pro anything. I just know that I'm like on a journey of self. And as far as how far it's gone, it's pretty cool. But I'm also like doing my own store online. So I do jewelries and other things that I make by myself. Like I make hair bows with matching masks and all different kinds of things. I'll probably show you guys when you guys are done with all of this. But as far as what you guys was talking about, you guys will have to keep me a bit on speed because my technicality was messing up. So I couldn't really, get a heave of where you guys were at before it started to briefly mess up. So
Can't hear you.
you guys couldn't hear me?
No, we can hear
No, we
you.
hear you. I was muted. Okay, well,
Okay.
somebody here loves their locks too.
You guys stopped that before I was able to join because I was having a hard time using both phones. I didn't really know exactly where you guys stopped.
That's fine. I'll get you up to speed. Just in case anybody don't know too, we went to high school together for a brief moment. So that's where I know you from. But the delayed and instant gratification, we were basically talking about how instant gratification can be somewhat addictive, how it can be fueling your ego because you're at the point where you're chasing pleasure faster as opposed to working hard in order to get that pleasure. Where delayed gratification, if you work hard to get that pleasure, there's a purpose behind it. So you feel like, you know what? It's not really feeding your ego that much. So let me go ahead and just ask you this, if you had to pick instant gratification over delayed gratification, which one would you say is the best to go by if you had to pick one?
Well, honestly, if you ask me, because I'm an open way of thinking, I feel like it depends on the situation, which one will be actually good in the moment. Because let's say that if my mother had cancer and I needed right now money for a doctor to cure her, I would not want later gratification simply because she will be dead then and it will not be needed. It's just common sense. It has nothing to do with what will be. It's just in the moment what is more beneficial. You feel me? Like if it's more beneficial for a person to wait for the later term, because the later terms, let's say if you plant fruit seeds, later you will have way more fruits than to actually just eat that one particular fruit and not actually put it in the soil to grow more. It will not necessarily that in that terms I can understand the purpose of actually waiting for the later gratification. But sometimes, the thing about life is you really don't know what time that will be your last moment. So if you ask me to actually sit there and say, oh, I'm gonna wait till later, who said later is
Right.
promised to you? It probably will not be promised to you. You would think it is because most people go to sleep and wake up tomorrow, but tomorrow itself is not promised. So to actually sit there, it's like you're actually playing God with your life in the moment. And actually, life is one thing that is extremely precious and you cannot get back later. So to sit there and gamble with it is not necessarily the wisest thing that you could possibly do as a person. But as far as, let's say, in spirituality, if you're trying to know yourself better, yeah, of course, spending more time with yourself to get a better you now, later than now will be actually the wisest thing to do. Because when you know you more, you know what you won't tolerate, you know what you cannot necessarily deal with. So instead of wasting time, like let's say if you want to build a business and you get to know yourself more now, later you just know certain people would just not agree with you, no matter how much you try. So it just cuts in the headaches. The spirituality just makes it much easier to go through your path without the slice and dice part of it. That's how I view it. But as far as like if you want to say, let's say, yeah, like basically simple as that. It's pretty that simple. Like, but because certain things do expect time to actually manifest, and in those particular things, you cannot rush those process of growth because within time comes with its growth. To actually say, oh, I'm gonna skip the time I need to grow this particular thing and let it be actually fruitful before its due time, it's stupidity. That means the fruit will not be ready to be ripe and it's not going to be ready for picking. It's not going to be ready for harvest. To actually think that you're going to let things work before it's time, it's not something anyone can do. That's the source's job. Source decides when things are ready. You trying to play God with your time, it's just waste of your time because it ain't gonna be ready till it's ready, and it's not nothing you, me, anybody can do about this situation because the universe know when it is due. Just like no matter how much a pregnant woman will wish that the baby will be out in 3 months, it's not going to survive.
It ain't gonna happen.
It ain't happening. Shoot yourself in the foot. It's just 9 months. If willingly, 8 months to come out early, it may survive. But even then, you playing God with your child, and you don't want to be that person.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you right on point with that because it does depend on
The
the
situation.
situation. Yes.
Right.
Depending on the situation, it does. But when we saying like when it comes to gratification, that's really logical. That example you gave with if you needed money now to help like your mom, if something was wrong with her, you would go for the money now. It wouldn't make sense to go for the money later. Now let's think about gratification in terms of pleasure, in terms of pleasure especially when it comes to desires, when it comes to like your dreams and your aspiration and like pleasure, like oh my gosh, that feels so good that I won this award, or it
But
feels
in
so
that
good.
moment, I look at it as in that moment you feed in the flesh, not the soul. And anything that you feed in the flesh, not the soul, is an addiction. Because the soul doesn't addict to anything. It just is. It just deserves what it needs and it just know what it does because it doesn't have to consume to the fleshly things of life. Life needs the air, the water, the necessity. So if life comes to play, you would just be like, well, you feel me? But when it's like the sole purpose, like drugs, it'll be in your sole purpose need to not actually smoke anything ever again because you know that your body is the temple and you should not feed it stupid things that will not help its growth. But in the lustful moment in the flesh, because you do not want to deal with whatever you're going through in the moment in the fleshly realm, you would just be like, okay, maybe a few shots would like help it disappear. A joint would make me forget. But the problem is not necessarily healed. It's just like set to the back seat. So when you do sober up, it's still gonna be waiting for you to like address with it. You could not escape that. You could choose to play pretend as though it's not there, but
Right.
whenever you do shine your eyes, you will see it waiting on you to make a decision. And then you will realize that the more you decide not to make a decision, the more it depletes from your life. It has more chunks of nonsense that's happening to you. Because now the money that could have went to other important things in the house is going to an extra blunt. Now, guess what? Now you have to fix two problems. The things that you were supposed to do that you didn't do, but you wanted the blunt. And, so it's like some things you just have to fix because you cannot let the flesh control you. Because, they say it's the flesh is the devil of the life. Because
Mm-hmm.
basically puts you into situations you got to do things you don't necessarily agree with in your highest esteem of your consciousness. But you would tolerate it for a brief moment of whatever, like ego.
Right, right.
To boost your ego, like your friends accepting you because they might actually be like heavy drug addicts and you not. So you be like, okay, maybe one pill won't hurt, but honestly, you don't know. You will find out in the end run if it does hurt or not. In that moment, it's just you trying to like feed their ego, but it
Right.
really don't benefit you or your flesh anything. Now you have caused your flesh a new habit that you have to try to break quicker than it spreads, and you have to think further than that.
Okay, yeah. So with this comment here, I wanted to highlight this comment by Sacred Ascension. It's yes, that's why I'm doing celibacy for 2021. Now that's
Mhm.
important because I was celibate for like 2 years at one point.
Oh
And
Lord, I'm not going to even say how long I've gone.
and
Yeah.
it really did help me. Like I could have gone out and did whatever, but I said no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no. And I learned so much from delaying that gratification
Mhm.
and delaying that feeling of pleasure. I was able to learn so much in that time. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think that's a really great comment that she put over there.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize practicing celibacy, you make wiser decisions.
you really do.
You make much wiser decisions. Um, you're not caught up in, because
And
when you're not celibate and you look, we're human. We can look at a person's body and know what they're capable of doing and how they're going to do it. And if you're partaking in that, the first thing you're going to look at is, oh, I know what they can do. And you get caught up. And then later you might find out like, oh, he has a bad disposition that is not agreeable to me. But you have already caught yourself up, not only physically, but emotionally, because, not every woman, but a lot of women have a hard time separating emotions from physical, and men can do that. Even the ones who say they can, they get caught up. I've seen it, many a day. So celibacy, helps you filter through the garbage, right? Because we only want the best, we only want the cleanest, we only want the purest, we only want the what's going to feed our soul. And if I cannot have conversations with you, if you can't stimulate my mind, if you can't make me want to sit and be quiet with you for hours, then there's a problem. So if your essence and your energy and your vibration doesn't mesh with mine, then the only thing that we have is physical, and we can't go anywhere with that. And that's one of the biggest things that this society has pushed on our community, because they know once our children get caught up in that behavior, it becomes a cycle. And for us young girls, once we lose our innocence, what happens is it turns into promiscuity, because then we're searching for our innocence again and trying to find that what was taken from us, and we don't know what to look for. So when you wait and you preserve yourself and then you wait and you find someone that can complete you in all areas other than physical, you can work through the physical. That's easy, but the rest of it isn't, you know.
Mm.
And that's where delayed gratification is like the best.
I agree with that one all the way. I don't even think I have words for the end of that.
Yeah, that was deep. Like you really hit,
That's all the
you
way
hit
to
it.
the game.
Mm-hmm. You know, I had to. That's one of my exercises that I had to exercise. That's one of my things I had to exercise because I don't believe in premarital sex. So
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's beneficial too. Like it's so it's so different. And there, like you said, there are some emotional men out there too that get attached when it comes to the feelings and chasing after that feeling and actually getting attached.
Right.
But you know, you're right when it comes to that. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and move on to the next thing, which is going to be, let me see, pros of instant gratification and why people gravitate towards it. I mean, we kind of already talked about the pros. So why do you think people gravitate towards it, especially given our society, given the fast-paced life, things of that nature? Why do you think people gravitate towards it? And I want to also add in for you guys, why do you think in our Black community as Africans that we gravitate towards instant gratification?
Honestly,
you've been stretching my mind all day.
yes, but this is how I see it. I don't know who sees it in this way, but we are three different women and we all have a way of enlightening each other in the best perspective that we all see things from our own perspective. But the way I see it, I actually think it's as simple as people don't like to speak the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like let's say the music industry right now, they know for a fact that what they are throwing out for the kids, the youth to like listen to, the message behind the music and everything is not necessarily the most positive messages. And they understand playing in rotations in this radio station, kids that don't know necessarily any better listening to it, looking at these people like basically demigods, and they look at them like, oh, they know what they're talking about, they fly, their money's long, I'm trying to be like them. So they take heed to what they say, and some people actually idolize them to the point that they take everything they say word for word. And honestly, it's nothing good, nothing that's good. Honestly, I read a post about Cardi B posting that the music she actually right, she's not actually going to let her kids listen to it. So it's like, if you really think it's poison, so why do you think my kids deserve to listen to your poison, shorty? Like, that's basically how it's being. Like, it's like you saying it should come to nothing, but that's the words you are saying to me and my kids, that although this is the music you are playing for you to make money, it's about your money, not about the best of the people. So as a parent, you do your job to make sure your kid don't listen to your song because you don't even agree with the stuff you're trying to put out there. So
Exactly.
It's best for me to do the same. And it's like you can't control what your kids do, because at the end of the day, they go to school, they have friends, they have people outside of you that do surround them, who teach them things outside of you. So you do your best you can as a parent to keep them in a personal domain. But in reality, you really can't change that. People are going to do what they do, and even your kids, they don't like to listen to you if they don't think that you're necessarily right. Some of them like to know for themselves, even if you are right. And that is a gamble.
Your volume starting to distort a little bit now. It was doing a little bit.
I hear everything you're saying.
I heard a lot of it.
Yeah, you see me, I'm like listening intensely. I want to hear everything.
Oh yeah.
Okay, can you guys hear me a little bit better? Because I think my space that I'm in was just a bit more rowdy. So let me find a space, and with the light, not necessarily all that chaos. Maybe just this. Let me try this again. Okay. So in that moment, you could actually understand how a person can actually view life in that particular mindset and be like, okay, that's not necessarily great. And these drug dealers, you got to be realistic. Like, we all know that we don't agree with them selling drugs, but like, these people are in a situation that they get desperate one time and they do something that they want to get instant gratification, and then they find out in the end run it wasn't necessarily the best idea. And by them getting into a situation that they get locked up and get into the police system, it's kind of hard to get out the system when you get in. The easiest thing to do is literally get in. The getting out part is kind of like impossible because jobs won't allow them because they're like, oh, do you have a police report? And if they say yes, they don't even hire them and they don't give them a chance to change, even though they say that they are. So it puts them in a situation that they're back at square one, which is back in the street doing exactly what you don't agree because you don't think nobody else understands your struggles but you. Because honestly, that could definitely be a struggle.
Right. You know what? It's true. Because when it comes to the Black community, um, music is a big part to deal with it. You know, music, you can even find instant gratification from music, you know. And the thing about it is, you're right, no one really speaks up about those songs and things. And it's just crazy what you said when you talked about, let me go ahead and mute your mic just because there's some feedback. It's just crazy what you said when you talked about Cardi B and that WAP song, and how she actually stated out of her mouth that she wouldn't let her own daughter listen to the lyrics of that song. Yet she's putting that music out for instant gratification. She's putting that music out for her own pleasure and not thinking about others. And that's a prime example of how instant gratification is actually not going to be good, because instant gratification is going to lead you to the path where, once again, you're going to get into addictive behaviors. You're going to create a void for yourself, create your own void, and then you're going to want to fill that void up too. So it's actually really negatively impacting. Do you have anything to say about that, Global Green, when it comes to us as Africans? And why is it that we gravitate more towards instant gratification and the fast life and getting pleasure fast? Sorry.
No problem. Yeah, for me, I always believe in, I think history has a lot to do with it, because we were denied so much as a group of people across the globe, like literally across the globe. And so a lot of things our community just didn't have access to. So when we started having the ability to get things, we had to enjoy it as much as possibly, as quickly as possibly, because it was always a risk of it being taken away from us, one way or another, so we were into, that's how the fast life, fast money, this and that, and die young or go hard and die young, and it was a mindset. So this is taught and learned behavior that we have passed down from generation to generation to generation. But now, I look at it now, we are coming into a certain awakening that we don't have to deal with instant gratification if we are a network of people working with each other to protect each other from those who are always coming after us, and we can enjoy the fruits of our labor without having to feel like we have to do it quick, do it hard, do it fast before something happens. We can build, we can watch it, we can plant our seeds, we can let the sun nourishment, we can watch it grow, but we have to do it together.
Right.
We have to do it together. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I kind of see that.
Yeah, I see what you mean all the way. Like, when it comes to the Black community, first of all, we got to stick together. Second of all, we have to understand the importance of not going for the fast every time, which is part of why this live is even existing right now. So I absolutely agree with that. It's just one of those things where, as a community, when you're in the struggle, when you're in a dump, you're gonna gravitate towards what's gonna help you fast.
Right.
justice what it is at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So, ooh, that's definitely not this one. Let me see what we got. It's a whole different, from a whole different life. Okay, now let's talk about spirituality. I know we touched up on it a little bit, but when it comes to instant gratification negatively impacting one's spiritual journey, I can start it off. So
yeah, I was thinking about that one. I was just like, man. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
like, so when it comes to spirituality, right? When it comes to spirituality, once again, it's feeding your ego to go after what it is that's going to give you pleasure right away. And another thing about that is, like, even let's look at astrology, for example. If you look at astrology and you look at Saturn, what does Saturn do? The purpose of Saturn inside of your life. Saturn delays things.
Right.
Saturn delays rewards. It delays your achievements. It delays success, rewards, achievements, success, pleasure. That's all gratification. Now, what does Saturn do? Why does it delay those things? Is because Saturn gets you to work hard. Every time your Saturn return comes back, by the time you hit 27 through 32, and then by the time you 44 to whatever, I don't know, but every 27 years,
right,
you're going to go through a life-changing experience where you're going to have to work very hard in whatever house it is that Saturn is placed in into your astrological chart. Why is it that Saturn makes you work hard in order to gain that pleasure? Because through that, you gain wisdom, you gain maturity, because Saturn is the grandfather of all the planets. He's the grandpa. So you gain an actual level of maturity, and you see that working hard brings you reward, and it brings you a better feeling. Like, what does success really feel like? What does achievement really feel like? Achievement is when you actually work hard and you tackle something. When you fought hard and then you fought something. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to spirituality, even in the way the cosmos is placed, even in the way that life is structured, and Saturn is all about structure as well. Even in the way that life is structured, you'll see that you will have experiences in life at some point in your life where you're going to learn the hard way that you need to work for what you get. You'll go through experiences where you keep putting in work and effort into a certain situation, topic, relationship, whatever. And you'll see that no matter how hard you work, you're just not getting any type of rewards. And that's Saturn pushing you to work harder. And when the rewards come, when Saturn actually gives you the rewards, you get it in tenfold, and it feels even greater. Right. So even on the spiritual level, on a spiritual level, where no matter where you are on your spirituality, whether you're thinking about going inside your third eye and reaching home and experiencing bliss, or whether you're just thinking about having spiritual practices in your day-to-day life, you'll see that delayed gratification plays a big factor into strengthening your spiritual self and strengthening your ability to stay in alignment with that spiritual thingamajiggy. Okay, so instant gratification negatively impacts that, because it has you chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing, and it takes away from your sacred experience. It's no longer sacred anymore. If you go through a breakup with somebody, and your breakup, you went through ups and downs and hoops and loops and all these things, and it was a long breakup, a long divorce, that moment is very sacred to you, because you learned a lot, because you put in a lot of efforts. you had a lot of experiences that you had to pay attention to, as opposed to getting into a relationship and saying, man, this guy sucks. And being able to just detach yourself emotionally, physically from him right away. It's a different experience. It's no longer sacred.
Right.
So in terms of that, I feel like instant gratification will absolutely negatively impact your one spiritual journey. Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely will. I know for me, when I was going through the process of, this is not my first time going through the process of repatriation. The first time that I went, I got really far in the process, and it stretched my faith and my belief, because I was here. At that time, my husband was deported back to Africa at the time, right? So that was one area. So now I was here with small children by myself, and my family was disjointed. And I still trust in God that we were going to be unified some kind of way, and I just kept on going and living and raising these children who didn't know their dad, literally. And so I just had that faith. I was like, I'm going to go to Africa. Me and my children are going to go to Africa. I did not take my daughter to Africa till she was 10 years old. So we were separated all that time. And I still believe that everything, I trusted it. And it was a stretch of my faith. It was a real, because now, not only we've been separated 10 years, but we're two different people, right? We didn't grow together. And so I worked diligently, and I got, and back then it was expensive. It was like $1,500 per person to get a ticket over there. And then I went there for months, and the closer that I got to getting to Africa, the better I felt, and I diligently worked through it, and it stretched me. It was hard, because I'm a single parent in America, raising children, homeschooling, as well as working for myself. So, the money wasn't, flowing like you have a 9 to 5. I was working part-time, so I was doing a lot. But once I got those tickets, and I took care of my housing here, and it was expensive because I paid for 2 houses, and I spent months in Africa, and then it was the stock market crash. And everybody's like, how are you doing this during the stock market crash? And I'm spending months in Africa, and I was stress-free. The rewards of me actually doing the work, putting in the work, taking time, doing it slowly, trusting in God that, because at this point, the marriage was pretty much over because of this time. But my goal was, these kids are going to get to Africa and meet their family. That was important to me. So it was a reward for not only my children, but it was a reward for me, because I got to go and experience a beautiful experience during a time when people were on food lines, and I'm chilling in Africa. So that was a delayed gratification that at the time while I was going through it, it was hell. It was hell.
Yeah.
But the rewards were blessing, because even though me and my husband, our marriage was over, we became the best of friends, because he never forgot what I did for him. And his family to this day look out for me. So now I got sisters that for life, that look out for me, call me on a daily, look out for me no matter what. And that was because of the hard work that I had put in for something I didn't even know I was doing. And I got rewards beyond belief decades later.
Yes, that is, I'm trying to unmute Elsie. Thank you so much for sharing that experience. Like,
it's deep. It's deep. It stretches your spirituality. It stretches your faith. You know, it makes you question yourself, you know, and then when you see the blessings, you're like, okay, you know, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's really beautiful, that experience, because that's one of those things where, and a lot of times with delayed gratification, it doesn't feel good while you're going through it. But like you said, it strengthens your faith. It strengthens your faith because in those moments of, will I get what it is that I desire? Will my desires come true? Will I get it what it is that I want? Am I working for nothing? In those moments, you have to have a steel-like conviction and faith. And you have to be able to really hold on to hope and trust your own self. Trusting self, know thyself. That has everything to do with you as a spiritual being. Trusting yourself and knowing thyself. When it comes to even spiritual awakening, it's usually, at least for me, it's usually after traumatic experience, or it's usually when you're in rock bottom and you have to get yourself up and elevate yourself to a higher level. That's usually when spiritual awakenings occur. And that's why that moment and those times were so sacred for you and so deep and beneficial. Those are memories that you're never going to forget. Those are memories that are never going to leave you. Those are experiences that taught you the most lessons.
Right.
Saturn teaches lessons as well. I know I keep bringing up Saturn, but
no, it's real.
Lessons. Now, let me just ask you something. Was that around the time of your Saturn return? It was.
Yeah, it really was. And I'm about to come back into it. So I, you know, and I said, okay, it makes sense because, you know, this whole, you know, thing, I was supposed to be repatriating in 2020, you know, so now I was like, okay, so I have to put in the work and the work, you know, with this happening, my finances have been cut in half. I'm working just as hard or not even harder. Finance has been cut in half, you know. There's certain challenges because, you know, I have to be mindful of certain things I say, but, you know, because of certain people that we work for, you know, they're demanding more, you know, for less. So it's just, you know, it's a new challenge. So I'm just keeping myself focused and enjoying the new challenge that I got to go through. But through this challenge and me working through it, I'm meeting some really wonderful people, making great connections. So I'm looking at the blessings that is coming my way. So I know when I do finally get to my goal, it's going to be beautiful. But I already know right now I'm dealing with the ugly part.
Yeah.
Struggle.
Yeah.
You know, and being stretched and, you know, and crying at a dime, you know.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. It's my first Saturn return and I already feel it. I'm not even 28 yet. I feel it because you feel it a couple of years before because Saturn's going into that sign, but I feel it deep and I'm having to work so hard just to get my desires to come true, just to go back to Africa and do some things and all that stuff, just to live in a place where it's a little bit less stressful and to own my own source of income. All my desires is whipping my butt right now to make that stuff come true. And it's just the beginning of the journey. So
that story I told you started when I was 27. So I was in the midst of it when you know, imagine 6 months pregnant and your husband gets deported. It's like, and then that was the last time you see him until 10 years later. So Saturn stretched me.
Yeah.
Stretched me. Yeah.
I'm scared.
No, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't. You know, this is a phrase I always say: more fire, more fire, more fire, because all it does is just make you more beautiful. You know, it's just like that bronze, you know, and it just gives you the sharpening skills to deal with whatever comes your way and to do it with grace and beauty and elegance, you know, because you already know what to expect and you know how to handle yourself and work through it. So don't be afraid of it. Welcome it. say bring it on, because you're up for the challenge.
The experience, yeah. When you're in it, it's hard. But I hear you, and I really hear you. So, it's just, but yeah. Lastly, before we tune out and stuff, I think we covered the pros and cons of delayed gratification,
Is
but
the sister froze?
I don't know. Oh, you know what? There's a second one coming in. So we're going to have two of her. Let me take this one out. What is going on?
I
Hi.
was like, she looks like she's
You guys hear
frozen.
me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know what happened to my phone. It was just let me hear a lot of squeaky noises, but I wasn't able to speak, and I didn't know if you guys could hear me. So I was just letting you guys talk, and then it just started blackout. But I think it's because my battery was going low, so I just put on the charger, and you guys can hear me better now.
Okay,
can
yeah,
hear
it
you.
froze. Did you have anything to say about
No,
everything
I
we talked
kind of
about?
understood everybody's point. I kind of agree with everybody's perspective. I really don't have nothing more to add to it, but I definitely do agree with everybody's side. I think all that I wanted to say, I already said. And the things that I wanted to say that I didn't say, you guys said it already.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for, attending this live. I appreciate it.
Definitely, it was a pleasure meeting you guys. Every single one of you guys have a nice way of viewing life, and I definitely like your mind. And it's definitely nice to have like-minded women who think from the highest perspective than the lower side. And it was definitely a moment to remember. And I
Do
definitely
you have a
appreciate you
YouTube
guys
channel?
having me on your show.
Right.
Does she have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, put the link to your YouTube in the
I
chat.
just
Because I want to
made
follow
one.
you.
I just made one, but I don't really have much on there. So.
I still want to follow you.
She does a lot. She does a lot, but put your link to your YouTube inside of the chat. So that way people can just click onto it.
Okay, so I could just do that. Okay, no problem.
All right.
So when the chat is over, I would just make sure I put it down there because I have to retrieve it.
Okay, so let's move on to the last topic then. When we talk about balancing, because we're living in a world where you kind of have to chase things fast. At the end of the day, you have to catch up or you're going to be left behind. So it does take some balance. But, if we had to choose one, probably leaning more towards delayed gratification. However, given the circumstances in this type of society, we have to balance it. So a good way to balance it would be knowing like what are some of the pros and cons to delayed gratification. What are the pros and cons to delayed gratification? Because we talk about all the positive things to delayed gratification. What are some of the let's talk about what are some of the cons of delayed gratification. You know what? I feel like we talked about that too.
Yeah, because I think what happens is you can walk away from a situation.
Huh?
The thing about it, I think that I was going to say that I told my best friend like 2 days ago, but I didn't really speak on it, is that as the society has become now in our lifetime, the way we're seeing things should be just already completely different, because now we into the year of Aquarius, and even though people are not being realistic and just assuming that things are going to be the way it has always been, it's just really a lie. It's just a lie that has dawned on us from centuries upon centuries upon centuries to believe the same nonsense. Because as we see now, things are not the same. Like, let's use Corona as an example. Somehow Corona became a very big issue after a black man got slaughtered outside. And it was mostly because they don't want us to start a riot, because they know that we are not going to stand for us being put down outside like sheep and dogs. And let's be real. And it's like we cannot go outside and speak on how we feel, because they're like, oh, you gotta go back inside because it's Corona. Nobody's allowed to be outside protesting, matching. We understand what you feel, but basically we just not getting sick for you guys. So basically it's like, okay, we get your point, but we don't care. So go scoot yourself in a little corner and wait till this is over, and then when it's over, we could think about this. But it's like certain things like this, we don't want like late gratification. I don't know about you. I kind of need like right now, because I'm an African woman and I do have 2 kids and they're all black, dead. And it's like I have a son too. And I don't want him to be like, oh, mommy, I want to go to the store and just to walk outside in a hoodie and a coat. Like, you need your son in a hoodie and a coat. You know,
Mhm.
that's not good justification enough to why my child should be end up dead. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, I don't understand that. And I don't want to
Right.
understand that. And I do not want to live in a universe like that. Because when it does that, and then when I feel the need to retaliate, now I'm just a mad black woman and I'm not understanding society. But the society understands me though, baby. Does society understand me? Because where
Mhm.
I'm coming from, I did not sit here, go through all this slavery. And when I mean slavery, 9 to 5, that is a slavery, baby. To pay rent and show to my kids. For you to tell me not to whoop them, but if they walk outside and they don't seem up to part to you, you would shoot them. No, I don't think so. I don't think anything about that is funny at all.
Mhm.
I'm trying to adjust to it, but it's no adjusting to it. I'm just not with that. It's like, in that situation, is matter of fact, it's both. I need right now gratification, and I need it to continue to my dying universe. Because until there's never gonna be a black person on this earth, I do not understand why you now listen. It's not. Let's not even get in this topic because nothing about that is gonna make it okay. Mostly on my shade is, I can understand maybe because I don't go through it, so I don't feel it. I don't gotta agree with it because it's not my life story. But this
Right.
is pretty much all our life stories right here on this life right now. And if you
Mhm.
plan on, and if you have kids, you know that you're not really, But when we speak on it, it's almost like, okay, let's do the things we did to these set of people, even though we knew it wasn't right. And then let's turn around and act like we should be mad at them for having an attitude. That is so disrespectful. It is.
Mhm.
I don't care what you want to put it as. It's just straight disrespect. How can you treat me less than I treat my dog? You feel me? And then get
It's
mad at
bad.
me because you like I read a story the other day and it was like the police officer gave uh, a person that committed the basicest crime 20 years for shooting a dog. You're right. If you're trying to do something foul to me, yeah, I might have stolen. Dude, take me in handcuffs, give me my 5 years. Don't release your dog that's gonna chew me alive and you trying to shoot at me, or because you want to put handcuffs on me for a crime that I
Mhm.
probably would do a year or two and come out. You feel me? Because basically what you're saying is you okay with my life being wrong for 2 years of jail time. Give me my 2 years of jail time. I do have the rest of my life to live, God willingly. Because even I don't know when it's gonna happen. But the whole moral of the story is treat people accordingly. Because honestly, even though everybody likes to take a backseat to the reality of things, like the society we are in right now, we don't have no time for later gratification in our situation as blacks. We really don't. And when I mean blacks, I mean African American, Caribbean, anybody that's ebony skinned. We do not have time to argue because when they pull me over, they don't really ask me question if I'm African. They don't care. They just know that I'm
Mhm.
dark shade. They don't care how I'm not from here. They don't care about how I know my laws and everything. The same laws apply to me like I was my great ancestors was enslaved, but no, baby, I got here on a plane. So it's like, let's not treat me like this because I know how I'm supposed to be treated. Because maybe you believe that every single dark shaded person don't know where they from and their culture, but to me, my ancestors is really back home. Like I do know
Mhm.
my last trace. Let's not play these games with me because I know who I am and where I stand for. And then when you start speaking to them like that, in their first mind, oh, you rude, you don't respect us, you not abiding by the law. But it's like, no, I'm abiding by my self-respect. And I do know the law. You're not going to disrespect me clearly because you think you have a code of conduct that I need to abide by. Mostly when I'm abiding by it and you're not even allowing somebody to speak their truth because you're so insecure of you doing your job because I'm a black woman, you think I'm gonna have to do something to you. No, dude, I'm not gonna do nothing to you. Just if you're gonna have to put me in cuffs because you got a right to, do what you need to do. But don't kill me for a little bit of time. Let me
Mhm.
do my time and come out. Come on, what's up? That is
Right.
not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's what come with that black music too. Because how you gonna react this way and be quick to put this type of music into the street to put kids in a situation that they don't know better. They're trying your luck of something they heard. They don't know nothing about nothing they're talking about. All they know is
Mhm.
Future say he had a Glock and he get the busting and he go poop poop poop. They're
Right.
gonna do the same thing to find out he about to catch a whole life charge and public assistance don't care for him because he don't got future money. But
Mhm.
when is that gonna happen? After the fact or before the fact?
Mhm.
And after that, are they going to be able to be regular kids after? No, they're going to be registered felon, and every day of their life, they're not going to be treated the same. So, but the whole time, but honestly, I read a post that said that if a white person murder a white person, it's called insanity, my dude. But when it's
Mhm.
reversed,
Yeah.
it's called hatred crime, and it's like, wait, what? But when it's reversed our way, but when they do it to us, it's still insanity, yo. They could really sit here and say, well, I was not on my right mind right now, and really get like a tap on their back. But
They
when
just have to
you do
say
it, they're about
scared.
to
That's
bang.
all. If
Yeah.
they're scared, that's it.
But
Yeah.
they're scared for what they did to us, though. We ain't do it to them.
It's
How you
trapped.
scared for what you did to us, and now you want to hold us in more problems for what you done already caused us? You caused us enough.
It's a
Mhm.
trap. It's a real trap. Like it's an actual trap. Like it's an actual game.
It's a slavery of the mind thing now.
It is. And
It
it's
really
funny.
is. They went through this process of making sure that they enslaved the body to help enslave the mind. And now that the mind is enslaved and the body is adjusting to the mind, they're like, oh, it's you guys. No, it's not. It's you.
Mm-mm.
It's you. You're the problem. You're the devil in our life, and we're going to let you know that.
Right. And this is when instant gratification is definitely something that I'm looking at, because, what happens with delayed gratification is people lose their momentum. They get complacent, and and sometimes they'll just walk away from it. And that's what this thing did this year. It has slowed people, every day, and I'm in Washington, D.C., every day there was protesting, marching, fighting for right, and you slowly seeing the momentum slow down. But I haven't seen any changes. I'm still seeing the same nonsense happening, but the momentum is slowing down. This is when instant gratification is a must and is necessary, because certain things need to be acted on immediately, because it will lose an important momentum. It is not gratifying to watch this kind of behavior happen day in, day out, day in, day out. You almost kind of give up. And that's what's happened with our community over time. These type of things kept happening day in, day out. Bombing in 1930, Rosewood, the move in 1989, it's constant, all the different assaults
Yeah.
we had on our community. So what happened is we build ourselves, we're satisfied, we worked hard, that delay gratification, we've done something great, and then within a second it's destroyed, and it's nothing. And then you go through it again, that delayed gratification, and then instantly it's destroyed. And after a while, when this keeps happening in the psyche of our community, you lose the momentum of wanting to even try. And that's what we're
Right.
seeing.
And you're relying on another race or another group of people to make that thing happen and do the work for you. You sleeping basically and relying on other people, white people, whatever, to basically go ahead and make the change. We got to stop relying on them to make the change. We have to work together. We have to speak up. We have to do the things to make the change. If we don't say what's going on and what's wrong with us as a community, then no, there's not going to be a change. And then even with that, we have said what's wrong and what's going on as a community, and there's just some sick, evil stuff. It's a real trap. Like even like what you were saying, Elsie, where if a black person kills a white person, it's considered a crime, murder. But if a white person kills a white person, it's considered insanity. And it's interesting because what I've come to realize is insanity, when you really think about some of the police officers that go off on the street killing black people, that's a real life serial killer. Like, honestly, what is going on in your head? There's some real sick people that are officers on a real deep level. Even when you watch that tragic video of of George Floyd getting that murder, and you saw that man's eyes, that's not his first time just killing somebody. There's actual serial killers and murderers, actual insanity within the police department. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. It really is crazy. And we really shouldn't be waiting back. When it comes to that, delayed gratification can sit down. I agree. And be in a trap too, where we focus on instant gratification more so. Because like we said, when you're in struggle, Black people have to work the hardest in order to get their desires and dreams come true. We got to work the hardest because there's certain things in place to make life harder for us. So as we're trying to run so fast and work the
The
hardest,
system is made for us to fail. That's
it
just the
is. It's
reality.
made for us to
It's
fail.
simply made for us to fail. Like even like I was saying, the white on white, when they murder each other, they call it insanity. But when black and black fight, they call it gang fight. Like that is so disrespectful. So it can't be insanity that me and my sibling, my brother, is having an issue, but it's
Right.
a gang fight. Who said what gang are we repping? The family gang. Like was really good.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And when you're doing that struggle and that run to actually chase that instant gratification, where that's what puts us in the trap to chase that instant gratification all the time as Black people. Because we can't wait no more. We got to feed our kids now, or we got to do this stuff now. We got to do it now. But the problem is the focus.
Is the
What are we
stereotype
focused on gratifying? That's the problem, you know? So it's a whole nother thing when it comes to that.
I
And,
look at it
I
in that
wanted to,
perspective. I look at it like is that the way of people classifying a person is nothing more than that. Is that they don't want to just keep it real and just say, listen, we was fraudulent. We just wanted you guys to help build our country, but we kind of didn't want you to stay. That's really what it is. So every moment of your life here is gonna feel like a living hell. And because we really wanted you to just come and build our life, and then unless you was gonna be our personal slaves, we kind of didn't want you here. And it's like, just be real. Just open your mouth and say this, and then give us some boats to slide our way back home. Like, but you can't take us back because you really don't know where we belong to, because you kept us too long. And you beat some people of their names, and you did certain things that is unhumanized to human. And now you walk around and act like, oh, these people are so evil because they whoop their kids. Like, honestly, but raping our women and men, let's not act like it's not the reality of life. You mean like it's like, and the other day I posted
that's
something on
what
my
butt broken
Facebook about
is.
this. I posted something on my Facebook about this, and they just looked at it as though I'm trying to speak hate. You can never. This is one thing, and I don't mean this as any harm to anybody of any race that could be actually white on this live. I want you to understand this from a Black person perspective or African perspective. There's no way possible, right, that I will go to a store to pick up a dog for my kids because they wanted a dog for a pet, and this is a pet, not a human, a pet. And I will allow my child to beat the pet every day and maltreat the pet. It's somewhere in a human being's heart. You be like, that is not cool. Mostly when it's shedding and it's in pain. It's like, if you can't see that, how could you really look at us and turn around and be like, us disciplining our kid is a crime? Like, what did you call what you guys did to us, if that is not a crime in its own nature? It's like people are easy being hypocrites, and they're very good at it, to the point that they do not like to stand to understand, like, this is the damage you made to a set of human beings. And they'll be like, well, it's not us, it's our grandparents. Well, cool. But somehow it went on for 300 years. That means that you telling me within 300 years, nobody thought that shit was, excuse me, that was okay. Nobody thought that was not okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
This Monday I had a show, and the sister she was a nurse. She was on my show, and she had made a revelation to me that I'd never thought of before. You know how we talk about our ancestors and the generational trauma that we experience that's passed down from generation, and we understand that. But then she made it very clear to kind of get me to understand their psyche. She said anyone who did those type of behavior during slavery, Jim Crow, that's a psychopath behavior. Only a psychopath can treat people in that manner. And the same way we pass down our generational trauma, and some of us are not aware of it, they pass down that generational psychopathic behavior within themselves, and they may not be aware of it. But if you really kind of check out, a lot of them have those tendencies. They have no idea of, and really could care less how things are affecting us, but they have that generational psychopath energy in them as well. And when she said that to me, and I was like, oh wow, that's deep, that's true.
It's
Because if
true.
you pass down in our community that, if you're raping and killing and muzzling and mutating and create genocide and impregnating children and raping boys, that's a psychopath.
Right.
And they passed that down. So it was, we have to understand what we're dealing with, the psychology of what we're dealing with, so
Right.
that we can uh, know how to deal with it accordingly.
To
Right.
And,
cope with it.
That's
and,
what it
and
is. That's really what it is. Because even when, like I said, with the serial killing, one black man after another black, you're hunting. You're in your car and you're specifically hunting for a specific
Set of
type of
people.
person, and you're continuously hurting and murdering them while their defense is down. They're not a threat.
At
That
all.
is literally a serial killer. That is a sociopath. That's what that is. It's like the real thing. And the crazy thing about it is, and even when what you said, when you look at statistics, and I don't mean to offend any white people either that could be watching this, I
You
know
gotta
some
say
white people
that.
died for us. I love
not
every
every,
single
we
color.
have to say not all. No, not all.
Because
Not
we
Right.
don't
all.
know. We don't know
Not all, but some. But like
yeah, our experience.
when it comes to whatchamacallit, when it comes to statistics, and you really look when serial killers were on the rise and all of that stuff. I'm not saying it didn't happen before the 60s, but they did go on a rise in the 60s. The percentage of Caucasian serial killers and sociopaths and psychopaths is a lot greater. Even when you look at the people who go in and do shootings where they just walk into a place and shoot everybody. The statistics is usually Caucasians that are doing that. So I'm just saying, it
And they
has
never
been
do
passed
time. They
down.
always go for a plea of insanity, you guys. They never really do no heavy time.
Yeah.
Like they get like the same thing a black boy would get for stealing a bar of candy in the store. Like that is mad disrespectful to a black mother. My son should not get life charged for something that somebody could do easily for killing like 20 people. Shouldn't be the same outcome as what my son would do if he stole a candy bar. That's
Mm-hmm.
disrespectful. And that's not
Mm-hmm.
that's not to nobody, no shade to nobody, but that in
Yeah.
that in a situation like that, I don't think money is worth a life. I think
Right.
that society needs to be more fair, life for life, an eye for eye, because every
Mm-hmm.
person's life is as valuable as anybody else's. And I don't think that because a person's shade or how much riches they have in the bank should make what's right not right,
And see,
because
this is.
people who do certain crimes and they deserve to hold their time for it, and
Mm-hmm.
because they could pay a better lawyer, they get a slap on the wrist. Because their shade is slightly lighter, they get a slap on the wrist. And the ones that is definitely in the hood that don't have no help or anything has to take the whole charge, and not even if not more. And it's like, when do the rights actually come to play?
They can
Because they
even
say
pay it
it's
off.
their rights,
They
but
could even pay it off.
right, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like they can't even get, and then they know, like everybody know, when you do get for public assistance, they're still working with the judge. They're working for their set of people. Their point is to, even though you did get a lawyer, it's just to say that they provide you with one, not necessarily to help you. Just by
No.
law, you are entitled to a lawyer, so they will provide you with one. You will realize they're not gonna call you. They're not gonna tell you anything
Mm-hmm.
of what's going on until the day before, and they're trying to bum rush you with a bunch of information you're not gonna remember, just to go in a courthouse so you could look extremely stupid, because it was
Right.
never there to help you. It's just to put you in a situation that you trapped around a wheel of snakes. And it's like, when you trapped around a snake, you know how snakes kill. They wrap around you and hold you still to the point that you can't breathe. You stuck. There's no growth. There's no nothing. You get tired, and hopefully you have the mental sense of not suicidal. Because if you're not, when you get in the jail, when you realize, like, listen, I didn't even do the charges that I'm being blamed for. Like, just imagine all those black people before, like, people even got a chance to even plead for themselves as a black man. Like, just imagine they went in there for a charge that they know they did, but because that was the little worker or the black man in that household in that time, they just planning everything on him, and he just had to go in there and die, whether he was a kid or not. It didn't matter,
Mm-hmm.
because he was not going to get hurt anyway. Even if he did the crime or did not do the crime, his voice didn't even have a voice. Just imagine what it feels like to be that person. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
even though we have a voice, it's still not a voice, because we all know that regardless what we say, it's like, okay, we hear you, but can you sit in the corner? Like, basically what just happened. It's like, but if it was the other way around, they'll be ready to like burn all our communities and everything. Like, even right now, as the COVID is going on, we have no idea when our kids is returning back to school, you guys. Like all these people that took their time to build out a little bit of society, that they have their own businesses. Like if your business is not within a good foundation and stability of a place, you're gonna lose it all. You're gonna lose it all. But they knew this was happening, and they did not even break the news to us till we got worse, to the point that people couldn't even prepare for a rainy day. And that's like the
Mhm.
mindset of them, because they want places in the black community to close down. I kid you not, they do. They hate the fact that you can actually turn on the TV and you hear about black woman that's this person, or black man that's building his business. Like, and they feel like the longer they keep you open, the more you gotta stay at home with your kids, the more you can't go to work, the more that things is messing up in your life, the harder it is gonna be for you to keep up.
Mhm.
They ain't
Mhm.
gonna say that easily, but it is that simple.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
Were you trying to say something, Global Green
No, I
Book?
wasn't, but um, this is where delayed gratification is definitely,
Okay.
a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
We've been waiting to be gratified for our good behavior, for building this continent, because we built the continent.
The whole
Okay,
thing.
think about it. Africans built every country in this continent, on this globe, and we're still waiting for just a gesture of, like, can we build our own continent? Can we work with our people? Can we thrive in our own, in our own right? And anywhere we lay our head is our land, because we built the entire world, literally. So can we just have some peace, and help our brothers and sisters, and help our family? We've been good all this time. We've done
Yeah,
our part.
yeah.
We allow you to take credit for our inventions. We built your government. We allowed you to use our holy scriptures to create your government, because every government is based off of the Quran, which is based in melanated people of color wrote, brought that book forth. We
Down
built
to
your
all the books of
society.
religion,
We've
though.
done
All the
everything
books of
for
religion.
this world. So we need to be able to live in peace, raise our children in peace. Love my brothers in peace, love my sisters in peace. We need to be able to look at each other other than just flesh and things to build your comfort. Can we have a little bit of that now? We've been waiting for our delayed gratification. Now we need instant gratification.
Yeah,
Clearly,
it's
we're not
it's
ready.
uneven, and it's crazy too, because we don't do the same thing. We are not going out and trying to hang white people. We don't have that kind of really have that kind of mindset to do
Now
that.
that's cold
We're not.
blooded. We don't do stuff like that.
We don't go out and actually try to like and match up. There hasn't been any type of war or anything like that. Like anything like that. We just kind of just um
We get provoked,
we're
we bite.
right. We were traumatized and we were just taking it. And now's the time where a lot of us are waking up, as we all know. A lot of us are waking up, and we're to the point where we're like, okay, what's the next move? We got to do things that are going to be the betterment of us as a community, as of us as Black people, and we got to do it now. We cannot wait later. We have to get it done right now.
But I think it's also our fault as Black people, because instead of us putting our money into our own kind, you will see a lot of Black people in the hood that cannot afford what they live in. They want to spend their money on Gucci, Louis, Prada. Like, these people are in France, my nigga. You cannot, you
Cursing,
cannot do
cursing,
stuff like
cursing.
that. Like, you just can't. You can't, because you basically say, I know I'm struggling, but the little bit that I do got, you can have it. Like, they're not blessing us back, dude. Like, go to your spiritual shop, buy something, help your sister out. Cause when your sister do no more, she gonna put more into the community. She gonna want more. Why? Because her kids is like you. She want her Black son to be able to walk in the street safe like you want yours too. It's just like it's a movement that only we can understand, because we the ones that's going through the struggle. We
And no
really
one's
sit here waiting for
trying to
them folks to
understand.
understand their struggle, and they're not, because it's not their struggle. That's just the reality of it. And it's not because we want to be rude, we want to be ignorant, we want to act like we too better than anybody. That's not the point. The point is, at the end of the day, you have a life and I have a life too. I'm supposed to be able to stand for mine like you're supposed to stand for yours. It's not, oh, me standing for mine means yours is in danger. No, it don't. It just means that you're not going to downplay me, my life, for yours to look simply supremacy of white. Like, you not, your whiteness don't make you supreme to me. It just means that you white. And everybody know that the essence that everything starts from is black. So if darkness believe, if even God said through darkness there was light, like, baby, you not about to come over here and tell me that I don't know who I belong to. Your light is only through my darkness. Without me, you wouldn't even be here. Because you can never get a dark skinned person out of a white person unless it's mixed with darkness.
Right.
Like that. So you can't sit here and get mad. Like, but we can make light. We can make light.
We can make every shade.
If you pack all these white people into a bus right now and they go somewhere else, we still gonna make another white person. If they move all of us somewhere else, they can't make another us. That's why they can't be like, get out. Because they can't do nothing without us. That's why when they make a vaccine, they gotta go to Africa to test it. Because even their own flesh cannot make the things they need to heal as good as they need us. And it's simple because the way our melanin is set up, they can't batch it. You can't batch it, don't match it, baby. You can't.
And the way you hit on that, sister, that's another thing that we have to be mindful of also is, you know, and I'm going to be mindful of what I say because I want this video to be seen, but certain things that they encourage our young girls to do to not bring forth life, right? They're using those things to create this so-called medicine that they want us to take. And they're pushing this agenda on the continent, right? Because a lot of those facilities that we no longer have here and that they shut down are now working on the continent, and they're encouraging that same type of behavior that they encourage our young girls to do. So we have to be mindful of that, and our continental brothers and sisters really need to be aware of the diabolical agenda that they have for us.
Right, because I had to post it on my Facebook page when I let them know straight like that we are not lab rats.
And let me tell you, this is the type of thing they've been working on since 1974, because I did a research on this recently. So in 1974, they started talking about this agenda of, you know, depopulation, and now they're finding a purpose of the depopulation. That, you know, they're finding a purpose of what they are pushing us to do with it, and that's with this so-called medicine they want to take us. And we have to be mindful of that. This is another Henrietta Lacks that they're doing with our own melanated children.
Yeah, they're sending all the abortion plans, all of the what do you call it, the depot shot, and it's different type of depot shot. It's a depot. First of all, those things aren't good at all for your reproductive system. It basically injects you with a fake progestogen or something like that. It injects you with fake progestogen. So your body actually has it has, you know, foreign material and foreign objects in it that's trying to act as a hormone, but it's not a real hormone. So it's a mutation. But they are testing that all throughout Africa, and they're going through places that don't even need it or care for it. They don't even practice abortion, but they still doing it. And I've said this before, when you look at what's happening in US, usually they go for the sons. Usually they go for the men, the police officers. When you look at what's going on in Africa, on the continent, they going for the woman. You got a lady in Uganda, I think it's Uganda or Rwanda, that had 38 children. From one lady, had 38 children. You know, we're capable of doing that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nigerians have the highest likelihood of having twins. It's in their DNA. So what happens in Africa is they go there to put the abortion plans out. It's really sick. It's really, really sick, and it's disgusting. But, you know, things like this is what it's about. Educating people.
They're good at covering things like this up. They don't want the society
to see them for what they truly are. And even though society always want to turn a blind eye, they actually still see the truth of the matter. It's like, do you want to see this, or are you choosing to be blind? Because there's no way you do not see what's going on. Like, you see. Just imagine all of us right now. If the way we live in our life right now, it's all cool because the ways the system has raised us is for us to go to schools that they are the ones that's teaching those schools to get more educated in the fields they are asking us to take, to that we're going to need loans for these particular same schools just so we can get jobs that they're going to allow us to get. So it's like it's a mental thing. It's like we're gonna tell you how to live, basically, and it has nothing to do, because some of these classes that we go to, honestly, we really don't look back in the book and say, what did I learn? Like, it means like it's just like just literally take it to say you took it because they want you to take it. It's not even anything that you would truly need. It's just to put you in a situation that only the ones that listen, the ones that obeyed, could use the Lord, which is the Lord is God. It's basically their system. So it's like, that's why when I read the Bible, I could really just, like, with the third eye chakra being open, you can really see through and see the system of how things are being forced upon you, regardless if you're aware or not, because the high consciousness could just eliminate the BS of what is being shattered through media and through the music and through everything, because that's why spirituality is a must, because, you know, as we was born with spirit, you know, and that's the whole point of being a human being. The human part is that we all animals, because we also eat creatures. So let's not. We eat birds, which will be chicken, and we eat cows. We eat beef, which is, you know. So we know what we eat. So that means that we also a predator. So with that saying that, for our higher consciousness to understand that we are not in necessarily the human side, but the being side. The being is the spirit. So the being side is what lets you know, like, no, hold up, this is not how this works. You cannot do this to somebody, because consciousness don't see how, hey, me treating you bad is me treating you bad. Consciousness see it as though I'm treating you bad or I'm treating myself bad. It don't see it that way. It just knows that somebody is being treated badly. So it's the damage is going to be on both sides. But one person will not see it as though, because in the moment the flesh is coming to play. But when the flesh comes to play, it doesn't change the fact that you're going to leave a problem mentally, whether you choose to or not. Like, let's say the slavery left mental, because it left the white people always thinking that we would one day get mad enough to kill them. So they're always on edge, always uncomfortable, always and on at ease. When they see us, they feel like we are ready at this moment to get them back for the things they did. But they know what they did was wrong. It don't take common sense to realize that, because common sense is actually common to everybody. So them choosing not to use it doesn't make us any guilty for what they did. It just means that they chose to see us in pain and accept that for their truth in that time being. And for us blacks to walk around feeling uncomfortable because people treated us in the animalistic side when we needed to be treated like a being, it's not our problem. It shouldn't be our cross to bear for the rest of our life in America. It should never be across the bear. If anything, it should be something that should be apologized for from their end to us, and to put a stop to, so we could all be a better person and live in highest consciousness. And the highest consciousness is, I'm not better than you, you're not better than me. A life is a life, and it should be valued, because that's the whole process. And when, like, from dust we come, from dust we shall go. When you die, you get buried. They die, they get buried, baby. And they only had to go through that process through darkness 9 months like you. And their mother had to go through the same thing your mother had to go through. What made them special? Because they came a little bit lighter. No, that's not good enough, man. It's definitely not good enough for me to be treated like that. She a little bit lighter than us, but sis, ain't you like our sis still? We don't care, baby. We don't care. You come out, it's whatever shade you are. It's like, but when you stop telling me that for who I am, I shouldn't be respected, it put me in a situation I'm in defense mode. Like, that means for who you are, you shouldn't be respected either. That's not me being against it. That's me having self-respect, yo. And if you can't see it that way, it's something not right with you personally as a person to think that I should tolerate less to make you feel better as a human being. That's something about that don't make sense. Like, the mind, the thinking, you know?
Yeah. And also, like, you know, when you push somebody in the corner, they're going to go into defense mode. That's an agenda that's pushed on us. They're
Right.
That's
angry,
period.
they're
That's all
mad,
anything.
they're aggressive. Well, what do you expect?
Right.
You know
But
what I'm saying?
what do you expect? Of course my
Right. Like
claws
you
are gonna
poke at
come
a bear,
out.
it's gonna get you poke at anything.
Like,
Like
what do you
stop playing.
expect? Yes.
You poke at anything, you can poke at a chicken right now. It's gonna like ready to like flip its feathers, like stop playing with me, you know? Like anything, nothing likes to be provoked. It doesn't have anything to do with a person. It could be an animal, like even a kid. They do not want to be provoked. Nothing wants to be provoked. Everybody wants to be at peace within themselves. And that's supposed to be the Christ realm. You're supposed to be with yourself, happy as yourself, to be yourself. But the fact is, people are being programmed from even down to the cream we use for our face, the media, they keep pushing the European beauty on the African women. We not them, yo. We can't be them. We're not gonna try to be them. That's they're trying to make your psyche messed up. They want you to do something that you could possibly never become able to do, because naturally that's not you. Like even down to priming your hair is damaging to your own scalp. Like you shouldn't even want that. Like when they braid
It
their hair,
goes to
come
your
right out.
brain. It goes
Yeah.
to your brain. They have been able to find, they found bodies like, buried, and they were able to detect that they were Black women, African women, because of the amount of
Perm.
damage that went through the skull, and they knew it was a perm.
Yeah, because your skin is a big organ. I mean, a big it basically it has the ability to suck. When you put on
The lotion.
lotion, it absorbs it. When you put on oil, it absorbs it. So what are you going to use? Are you going to use lotion that you don't know what the heck is in it, or are you going to use some natural oil? You know what I'm saying? So your scalp as well, it sucks in because there's pores. So if you're putting toxic chemicals onto your scalp, that is going to seep in through to your brain. It really is. So that's just absolutely
No.
It's horrible. And I wanted to touch up on, like, just real quick on spirituality and relating to this. You mentioned the third eye chakra. That's where you gain clarity. That's where you go in to gain clarity, because a lot of this is requiring clarity. And then also when you talk about Black can give light, what does the color do? Black do, because every color has its own significance. It has its own meaning. It has its own spiritual meaning, all of that. When you think about the color Black, and let's say you have a Black object and you have a white object. If you use a Black object to design your home, it's going to make that place look smaller. If you use a white object to design your home, it's going to make that place look like it's expand. And the reason why is because white reflects light off of it. Black absorbs light. That's why Black is capable of keeping you warm, because it absorbs the sun. It absorbs warmth. So Black absorbs
Yeah, you're
light.
right. That's why we don't need sunscreen, but they do. Yeah.
Right. Black absorbs light, and that's that melanin content too. So like it's true, it's real, it is what it is. And I just, I'm loving this conversation, and it's definitely needed. You know what I mean? When it comes to even the lotion thing that you said, when it comes to that, you got to think about who's making the vaccine. I don't know. Maybe this live will get taken down because what I'm about to say, but who's making the vaccines? When you think about the people who are actually creating the vaccines, you think about Bill Gates, you're thinking about Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson were in a 20-year thing where they were fighting with women that were having lawsuits against them because they said that their powder gave them ovarian cancer, and Johnson & Johnson denied that. Johnson & Johnson denied it until they actually tested it and it had asbestos in it. Johnson & Johnson baby powder. That's why I don't use anything. I just use oils. And who's making the vaccine? Who is the creator of the vaccine? Donald Trump said it his own self in the debate. I hate to say his freaking name, but he said it in the debate. Johnson & Johnson, they're the creators of the vaccine. Why am I going to let you inject something inside of me when you failed at making baby powder? What the heck is a baby powder anyway? Why do we need that? I mean, it really doesn't even make sense. But when you think about the people who are behind the vaccinations, that is the easiest way to get something into somebody's system voluntarily. And
Yeah, some people is really used to seeing things. Excuse me if I seem like I cut you off. Our people are used to using things without necessarily doing the research behind it first. They really like to go for the hype and what it looks like. Let's say, anybody, Cardi B or 50 Cent or anybody was in a commercial like with a Sprite. You know,
Are you
like
going to
maybe
start seeing
Coca-Cola.
celebrities push this? You know that celebrities are going to start pushing this.
Right. So basically, they use them because they sold their morals for a contract. So it's like because they sold their morals for a contract, and that's what they call selling your soul. Selling your morals for a contract is selling your soul, because even if you feel like what you're doing is not necessarily right, you don't get to speak on it no more because you signed a contract. So it's like it start eating at you because you know that the things that you promote and doesn't grow you, it depletes you. So it's like to really sit there and make a music like this when your goal as a mom is to make all kids learn more, and you knowing that what you're doing is making kids basically turn to teen mothers. It's a situation that you're becoming a failure. So in a situation in that moment, it's like you selling your soul. Because if your highest dream is to be a teacher and a mom, that is really doing reverse of what you're supposed to do as a person. You should not be able to feel comfortable in your skin laying down. It's like being a priest but sleeping with little boys. It defeats you as a person. But when you do become into these high brand and society, when like right now, even if they want, they would take your message down, but it can't do anything to you because you're entitled to your voice and your voice is yours. Until the day you decide to sign a contract with somebody else who speaks for you, because you have signed up this certain contract that you're not going to do certain things like these lives, that's when you have to eat things like this, know you feel a way about it, and not be able to speak regardless what you know, because you have signed your wages to your voice.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Can you see how many people are looking at this live? Can you see that?
Yeah, it's about 12 people.
12. So then these 12 people, right? They already got this knowledge. So then those 12 people are going to share it with 12 more people, right? People, we're going to share this knowledge with 12 more people, and we keep sharing it and we tell it. And that's how we continue to get the word out, because that's where we're going to need instant gratification.
Yeah, so
and it's going,
I
and
definitely
so
want
that
this on
means
my
that
Facebook
this live
section.
from these 12 people need to be shared with 12 other people before they even have the concept or the ability to take anything down, because we are passing the knowledge down, and we need instant gratification with this. And that's what the goal is, because what we're speaking is about our community, about helping our community. And thank you, sister, for bringing this conversation up, because I have not thought about instant gratification and delayed gratification, and we have to be very mindful of it, when to use it and when not to use it, and when to apply it and when not to apply it, and be discerning of what we apply it to, because we don't want to share everything. But the
Exactly.
things that need to be shared, we do it immediately, and we got to start doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing about that whole pandemic. You also, what ends up happening too when you think about manipulation is you'll get put into the spot. What they do is they'll put you into the spot where you're the most vulnerable. When are you going to be most vulnerable to say, oh yeah, put this in my arm now, I can't take it anymore, I want to go outside, I want to stop wearing this mask, I want everything back to normal, I want my kids to go back, and yeah, just inject it in my arm. You know what I'm saying? That is that vulnerable state. Really pandemic, like
Right,
you
that's
guys
what
know what I'm
always
talking about.
really desperate.
Yeah.
They always
I mean,
out of desperation for our kind.
And then if you look at the timeline, it's been very planned. It is definitely, it's so obvious now. Once you start researching the timeline, you're seeing it from when it was first brought up, which was 2015 when it was first brought up. 2019 they came up with the whole vaccination plan of vaccinating our children without our acknowledgement, and then it's like 2020. 2018, I think, they were working, Fauci was working with China in regards to, this type of, they were working on this whole, whatever, I don't want to say the word, because they share the information with us. It's out there for us to find, but a lot of us don't research the information. And then now here we are. They have, everything in place. They're able to vaccinate our children without our permission. They came up with a vaccine. They didn't just come up with it. They've been working on it. They've been planning it, and it's very obvious. And they've been telling us, but we just haven't been paying attention.
Yes, it's horrible. It's actually just disgusting. But like you said, it's to the point where it's just obvious now. It's obvious. And it's even the thing, this is how karma works too, because what do you call it? It's starting to backfire onto them, because instead of people getting stuck into that mindset and stuff, we're actually waking up. And we're actually we're waking up. More Africans descendants are going to Africa. More African descendants are like, this is not the place to be. I need to go in Africa, or I need to at least invest into Africa, so that way I can have a place to run to. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's waking up, even non-Black people that are trying to go to Africa. Those people are even waking up as well. And they're like, what is up with the system? The system is horrible. It's absolutely disgusting. And, it's just that the pandemic did not work, and it won't work. I really don't think it's going to work. I don't think that people are going to sit there and say, yeah, do that, because your social media has leaked information, and social media has, that's information going back and forth really fast. That's air element, wind. Wind can go fast like tornado. The information goes so fast, before you know it, there's already information about the truth. You just got to find it, or your soul just got to take you there, and you will find the truth about what's actually going on. So at the end of the day, it's not really something that we're going to fall for. We're putting that information out there. People are getting educated. People are knowing about it. Make sure that even though if you're in a place that is actually locked down, go outside, catch the sun. I don't care if it's cold outside. Even if it's cold outside, get to the window. When that sun is shining bright, go ahead and make sure that sun, you focus your power of attention onto that sun's energy and take in fire element. Okay? Make sure that you're going outside to get air element. That's going to be your fresh air, your oxygen. Make sure that you're cleansing yourself. Make sure you're eating good foods. Don't believe everything that everyone tells you. Take everything with a grain of salt, especially when it comes to people that are not for your best interest. You guys know what I'm saying now.
Right. And don't forget that moon energy too.
The moon. You got to take in the moon. Moon is ruled by water. So that's going to be water element. You got to take in that water element, so that way you can be able to nourish yourself, nurture yourself, be intuitive, because moon is intuition. So you're going to have the ability not only to nurture yourself, but you're going to have the ability to know when you need nourishment. You're going to have the ability to focus in your attention on your body and feel when something feels out of place and you need to go get checked, or feel when something feels out of place and you need to drink water, or you need more of these types of foods. Make sure that you're paying attention to all of those things. Spirituality, pay attention. You got the fire element, and it goes in that order for a reason. Fire element, earth. Make sure that you're grounded. Make sure you put your feet onto the earth. Make sure you connect with earth element. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to create abundance for yourself.
Exactly.
Earth element. Like I said, air element. Like I said, water element. Make sure that you guys, as a Black community, we got to get more in touch with.
We got to get in tune.
We got to get in tune. And we're doing it.
You got to get into it. And a lot of us have been taught knowing these type of things is, you know, I haram if you're Muslim. I can't think what they call it in Christianity, but we have to get away from that mindset, because these are things that our ancestors have always been in tune to and have practiced. It is a matter of, like, you don't worship it, you use it for the energy that it's going to give you to build and expound upon, you know. And it's something that you'll find, once you find yourself, you're in tune to it, it makes your walk that much easier, you know, because, you know, we are earth, wind, fire, you know, air. We are all those elements, so we cannot be afraid of those elements.
Absolutely. Well, I think we said all the things we got to say. So
yeah, and I just want to say one more thing really quick, because this is something I recently heard, and so that people will be mindful. This is another thing where we're going to have to discern instinct or delayed gratification. The airlines in Australia are trying to get all the airlines in sync with them to enforce people to get the vaccine once it comes out, so that they're not the only one trying to do this. So the airlines are now talking to one another to try to all get on the same page. So we have to really use our voice and not allow them to bully us into something, because we want something so badly, because I know I do. So this is why I'm in, you know, now you see why I said I'm in it again. I'm being tested again. Yeah.
Yeah, in that situation, you're definitely going to have delayed gratification, because, you know, it's money. And we know that these airlines that are doing all that, what good do they have? There's got to be getting paid. Someone paid them. You got to think about, what's his name? Bill Gates? What the other guy named? The one that owns Amazon, and then that other guy that owns Tesla? Them. Through this whole pandemic, they have accumulated $1 trillion amongst all of themselves put together. They accumulated $1 trillion through the entire shutdown. While everybody else was suffering, losing their job, they were the ones that were actually gaining in profits. They were the ones where Amazon was considered essential. Bill Gates, you already know, he got YouTube right now. That's his. He's Google. They all got their stuff. And that money, the more money, unfortunately, in this physical realm, when it comes to evil stuff and economics and all that stuff, the more money, the more power, if you're going to put it towards evil. And that's what they're doing. I'm pretty sure, because this is my first time hearing about this, I'm pretty sure those individuals, maybe, okay, they paid the airlines so that way the airlines could push that agenda that they want so badly. So yeah, be careful. You know, you don't want to get caught up in that situation. That you might want to be patient, because even the airlines got some scams where they continue to delete. They continue to cancel your flights and things like that. So you really want to be careful. That's a good point you made. Do you have any closing remarks?
No, a lot was said, and I just want to say, you know, I enjoyed being on here reasoning with you, my sister. I really enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to you coming on my channel. You know, I'm gonna have to make it real sweet and special for you, because this is really nice. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, thank you. You're very welcome, and you're always welcome. You know, definitely gonna have more talks in the future. I'm gonna try and make your Monday one. Anyone watching this right now, if you're not subscribed to Global Green Book, make sure you subscribe to her channel on YouTube, okay? Global Green Book. It's space between it, right?
Right. Okay. Yes.
So make sure you subscribe to her channel. She does a similar spiritual things. She focuses on African individuals and the African community, and positivity, spreading positive and wisdom and all that stuff. So thank you, everyone in the panel. And I know Elsie left, but thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, panel, family in the chat. You know,
everybody in the chat. All right.
Yes.
We'll see you. Much love and blessings.
Yes. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much, my sister, my beautiful sister. All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. All right. And thank you, everyone inside of the chat. I'm going to just go in real quick. And because you guys are so supportive, King Shuja, I always see you pop in. Thank you so much for your support. Donnie Goes in. You already know how much I appreciate your support and all the love that you give, not just to me, but to everyone inside of our little family. You give so much love. You be on 2 lives at once. I don't even know how you do it. I've seen you be on like 3 lives at once. I'm like, what? Thank you so much for your love and all the blessings. Sacred Ascension, thank you so much for your love and all the blessings and support. Much love to you, much support to you. If you're not subscribed to Sacred Ascension, make sure you subscribe to her as well. Spiritual Being, Spiritual Light Being. Gayle Lockett, you're always here with the consistency. Thank you so much for your love and your support. I really appreciate it so much, really from the bottom of my heart. You give so much love. The Happy Companion, holding it down for me in the Gambia, doing the footwork. Thank you so much, Saeed, for everything. I really appreciate it, okay? Really do. And if I forgot anybody, I'm sorry, but thank you so much. And Bijou Noor, thank you so much for popping in. Much love to everyone and blessings.